where are we going to be in a year's time? And that's something that they encourage in the Bible. So if you've got a Bible, I'm just going to give a little introduction. In Joshua 4 and verse 4, they've just crossed the Jordan, and God has essentially stopped the flow of the Jordan. And Joshua says to the people, how in the future will our children's children know that God did this amazing thing? We need to create a memorial. We need to create a kind of a monument to remind one another, this is what God did. This is the miraculous thing that God did. This is how we got into this land. God did something spectacular and something amazing to enable us to cross over. Let's mark it. Let's make sure we never ever forget what God did. And something that this morning is a sense of putting some stones down, because we want to remember, look back and remember what God has done. So I'm going to read you a few verses. In verse 4 of Joshua chapter 4 it says, when all the people had crossed the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, now choose 12 men, one from each tribe. Tell them, take 12 stones from the very place where the priests are standing in the middle of the Jordan, carry them out and pile them up at the place where you will camp tonight. So Joshua called together the 12 men he had chosen, one from each of the tribes of Israel. He told them, go into the middle of the Jordan in front of the ark of the Lord of your God. Each of you must pick up one stone and carry it on your shoulder, 12 stones in all, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. We will use these stones to build a memorial. In the future, your children will ask, what do these stones mean? And I wanted to, in the sense we're going to hear from different folks in a moment or two, just to put some stones down and say, let's remember what God has done. Let's be thankful. Let's put some stones down this morning and remember what God has done amongst us, in the expectation that as we remember and we say thank you, there's something about it creating increased momentum to press into more in 2013. I heard these two, someone said that their favourite two words for 2013 are going to be thank you. That the two most important and the most powerful words for the year are thank you. And something of thank you is I'm looking back, I'm remembering, I'm considering what you have done, God, and I'm going to say thank you, because past grace guarantees future grace. What you've done in the past, you're happy to do again. So Tim's going to be the first of four of us. We're just going to take a little slot each and just to tell a little bit about last year and a little bit about this year.
Okay, it's me again. Right. I've got a number of things because I tend to go on too much. But anyway, I will try and keep it short. Just going through some of the things that I've really thanked God for in the past year. I want to start with Cool Kids, because that's what I do on a Friday with a group of wonderful young people, and not so young, but quite young anyway. Oh, sorry. Marlon, yes. God's truly blessed that this year. We've had the biggest numbers we've ever had. I've said to you that we stopped visiting because we just couldn't manage that, and actually from that God, not that that's necessarily a good thing, because it's a good thing to visit, but actually God has still blessed it abundantly, and it was so great to have so many, and really we are looking for God to continue blessing that during this coming year. But the other thing that happened as a result of Kids Club, and something that was really a highlight of the year for me, was when Pamela got baptised. She's over there. She came through Kids Club, and a lot of her siblings are there as well. But it was wonderful that she came right through, came to be baptised, and is part of our youth, part of the running the Kids Club now. And it's just that's a wonderful blessing of God for us. And we're just looking for God this year to see more of that, because actually we do believe God's hand is upon Kids Club. Another highlight of the year for me was just spending more time with the young people. I'm still young, and but just to be with them, see their different approach to life, and also their walk with God developing. That is just a tremendous privilege. To see these young people also having their own walk with God, their own understanding of God, and I've just found that a real joy. They are a great group of young people we have. They're not huge numbers, but actually they're wonderful quality, shall we say. So I really thank God for that. And also, I really enjoyed the group where we did foundations together. I know a number of people were here. That is, again, I find a real privilege to be with people that are joining the church, looking to join, and the backgrounds that they have and the different stories they have to tell are just fantastic. Just to see how God has worked individually through their lives to bring them to this place. It's just fascinating, and also just to hear the stories, the individual stories, how God has worked in lives. It's a wonderful thing to do. So it's a real privilege to me, and I know many of them are here. So I really appreciate that, and I've got another one starting, so that's a wonderful thing too. For me personally, I just wanted to say for this year, one of the things that we've been looking at, and I know it's come out in a lot of the preaching, is about identity. And that for me has been a real, having been a Christian for so long, and having experienced God in many sort of different ways, to really grasp afresh who I am in God was a real amazing time, just to know the reality of being a child of God, being so loved by Him, so close to Him. My identity is not about what I do, it's about who I am. And I've known that in different measures, but it came across so much more powerfully this year. And that has been such a blessing to me, just to refresh myself in God, knowing that He loves me because of who I am. Not because I do different stuff, it's just He loves me because I'm His son and daughter. And that is such an important thing to live by, all of us. And for me personally, I found that a wonderful thing. And also, just finally, on just the things that I've just been really thankful to God for this year, is that increased expectation and belief that actually God will do things here that He's doing elsewhere. And you know that in your head, and you think, yes, God can do it here, but actually to start seeing it, to see breakthroughs in jobs, to see breakthroughs in some measure of healing, to see this here, to see God and to have wonderful testimonies of how God has broken in, is just really filled me with faith that actually God is going to do more. And this is perhaps the thing for next year for me, is to believe for more of what we've seen, really. And I guess it's to believe more for healing, to believe more for breakthroughs with jobs, particularly jobs. That's an amazing thing. We've had many testimonies. Believe that actually God, in the midst of a recession, God will provide jobs for people here. To really believe that. And so really, some of the things for next year, I've already said many of them. I guess the thing for me is to press in to God with greater expectation. Amen. And to step out. And for me to, up the front, you think, Jamie and me are professional prayers, we can pray for anything. And actually, we find it quite daunting at times. And actually to have that real confidence to say, no, God is with us. God has blessed us before. We've known it in 2012. He will do greater things. God's heart is to increase. Not simply to stay the same, not to say, what you did last year, I'll do again. No, to increase. And I want to, for a challenge for me, is to step out and to say, I'm going to go something bigger. Not to go too far ahead of myself, because my faith level needs to increase as well, but to believe for more than what we've seen in the year gone. So that's really what I wanted to say. So I'll hand over to